Hey everybody, welcome to the Truly Myrtle podcast. I'm Libby and this is my weekly podcast that zooms out into the internet, not on Zoom, it beams out into the internet on Thursday mornings, 10 o'clock New Zealand time. And I go live on Facebook and YouTube, and it's so nice to catch up with you because you can chat to me in the comments and I can see there are people chatting already. YouTube is here. Facebook always lags just a little bit behind, but you do get there eventually. Let me just see. I've got to clean my glasses. Here's Facebook. It's always Barbara. Barbara, you're always there, ready to go. First on Facebook, I know we're live when I see Barbara, so that's good. All right, everybody, it is so good to see you. It's a bit grey today, but oh my gosh, it's quite muggy. My hair does this thing in the muggy weather, like a lot of you does, I think, where it just gets to be one solid mass of buff. That's what my hair does in this weather. It is atrocious. Anyway, that's just how we are. The sun is on its way. Let's hope so, Lynn. We've had hot weather, cold weather, rainy weather. I had a beautiful day, a beautiful grey day the other day, last weekend, because I had to shoot photos for the sweater I'm about to show you, which is out tomorrow. And we had the best weather for photos, which is cloudy. It's just always the best. It's so hopeless when the sun is shining. So we had beautiful cloudy weather, and even though it was hot, I put on my thick woolen jumper and I took photos for you. Well, I didn't take the photos, but anyway. Hi Libby, says Marina. A good time of day for everyone around the world. This is the best I can do, I think. It's a reasonable time, isn't it? Because it's not too early for those of you in Australia. It's not too late for those of you in through Europe, although I know it is getting quite late. And in the States, it's sort of varying, but it seems to be quite a good time, 10 o'clock. So I catch up with you every single week. Let's just check everything is all hunky-dory here. Hey everybody, it's so nice to see you. Lovely day in Michigan and Christchurch, and it's a bit windy but hot in Rangiora. Hi Becky, you were in your Paloma. It just feels like a Paloma day, doesn't it, Barbara? This is my Paloma. I was actually just thinking of this morning. I put it on. Let me just get it arranged because it always gets a bit wonky on me. But I put it on and I thought, oh, this is the nicest neckline. I love this neckline because especially for a summery top, it's a little bit open, but not too open, and it's not too high, but it's not too low. I really like the curve of this neckline, and I thought, oh, I think I have to do that again. I really like the curve of that neckline, so that's what I thought. So she's Paloma. She's a nice little square tee. She has a bit of fullness in the body and a high-low hem, and these little sleeves that just pop in. And those of you on Wardrobe Toolbox will see. You'll know now. See how my sleeve pops up like that? Because it's like a longer cap sleeve, and it doesn't lie flat. And that is because we're missing our wedge in the sleeve cap. We're missing the wedge, you see? What happens when you miss the wedge? Now it's fine. I wanted to have a little summery kind of flick to this, but if you wanted your sleeve to lie flat here and not flick up, you need to put in that little wedge of fabric up here where you join the sleeve so it lies flat. We've been talking about that a little bit, haven't we? Did we talk about it on the podcast last week as well? I think we might have mentioned it with one of the questions that came in. But it's something that I've been doing a little bit. I did it in one of our patterns in Wardrobe Toolbox that everybody gets when they join, called the Easy Breezy. And the reason I did it was twofold. One, because it allows that sleeve, which goes to here, to lie flat. Because by the time it gets to my elbow, I don't really want it to pop up on the outside. That's a look. This is a cap this is a long cap sleeve for those of us with older arms. And so it's a longer cap sleeve. But when it gets to my elbow, I'd quite like it to lie flat. So I put them in for that. And also because it was a good exercise in actually doing a short row top down sleeve cap, which I think is such a great skill to have, because you can just bang that into sweaters. Even when you've knitted the rest of it flat, you could, pattern provided, and making sure your pattern all still works, patterning still works, you can just pop that sleeve in and knit down to finish your sleeve. So I thought it was a good one. Oh yes, it was my birthday this week. Thank you, Marina. It was my birthday on Monday, and but it wasn't a big birthday. I was 54 on Monday, so I thought I just have a quiet birthday this year. I didn't have a big birthday. Next year I might do something bigger. I'm 55. That feels like it's on the way to something, doesn't it? So 55, but this year just a little one, just a little quiet one. I had a quiet day. I had a day off. That was nice. Cloudy and grey in Northern California. It's just perfect for wearing Rita over long sleeves, flannel shirt. She's a lovely cozy vest. Oh, Katie, that sounds perfect little layer for you, the Rita. Yeah, neckline on a summer yoke tee. Yes, yeah, I like this. So we'll get. I actually have been thinking, you know, seeing as I've turned 54, I was having a think, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to push myself so hard. I push myself really hard, and I work really hard, and I thought, I don't know if I'm really in the mood for pushing myself so hard all the time. I've done a lot of that, so I thought I'm just going to ease back. My wardrobe toolbox is my priority, and I'll pop in to see you guys, but I've been trying to do other patterns on the side of other things, and you know what? It's quite hard. It's quite a lot of work to do that, so I'm not going to stress about it. And all my kids are home now. Some have finished university, some are about to go to university, school, everything's done. And we're in a kind of a state of flux in our house, but all of them home. Kevin's not here, but our four kids are here. And so it's like a train station. Everyone's fighting over we only have 2 cars at the moment for all of us. So it's all a bit, chaotic. But that's enough for me. That's enough. I accidentally said this morning on last week's, that's right, Jenny, I'll see you over there. Deborah agrees with me, 1971, the best year. 1971. Do you know a lot of things happened in 1971 internationally? A lot of big things happened that have changed the world. How about that? So including those of us who are born, that's obviously changed the world. Look, let me tell you about the new pattern that's coming out tomorrow. If you're watching this later, it'll already be out. I need to still sit down this afternoon and do a video about, this is the jumper. I haven't done that bit yet. Everything's been a bit slow. So I will show you the new sweater. People have been emailing me. They've been emailing me say, is it out yet? I want it. I haven't. I missed it. And you haven't missed it. Here it is. So this is the Baystone sweater. For those of you who are already feeling summery, don't melt. It's absolutely lovely. It'd be perfect for next winter. So she is a top down yoke sweater, and you start under the neckband. I'm not having any of this unstable neckbands anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're starting under the neckband, and we're knitting down, and then we're coming back later to do our neckband, and we're folding it, and then we're seaming it down. And actually, while I remember, I seamed it down with just the mohair. I held 2 yarns together and for the whole jumper, but then with the collar, when I came to sew it down, I used only the mohair, and it gives it such a fine finish. You don't need the thickness to sew it down. Mohair is very strong, so I only use that. But be very careful you don't make it too tight, because you can easily make it too tight, and you don't want to do that because it will feel choking and uncomfortable around your neck. So sew it down with a very light hand. Okay, that's my message to you. If you balls it up and it ends up being too tight, don't panic. Take it out and do it again. And what you might find is that your bind off needs to be looser. Make sure you do a really nice loose bind off, and you could either do what I've suggested. Actually, what did I suggest? You could either do just a regular bind off, which is what I think I did do. Yeah, I just said loosely bind off all stitches knitwise. Now you could do that. If you're finding that actually when you're binding off, you're still making it too tight, and the reason you'll be making it tight is because when you bind off and you lift a stitch and you drop it, and then you go to knit the next stitch, if you're not careful, when you knit that next stitch, yanking the yarn to go around that next stitch is going to tighten up the one before, whether you like it or not. And so be very careful that you add enough yarn into your knits before you lift and drop, because you will just lift and drop and you'll think, oh, it's lovely, I'm doing it so loose, I feel so good, and then you'll go tighten, tighten like that. We don't want to do that. We want to pay particular attention. Now, if you're finding that's just like, oh, that's so hard, I can't really be doing that, or it's still getting tight no matter what I do, then try a stretchy bind off. And you could do one with a backward loop cast on, so that you, before you bind off, you do a backwards loop, and then you lift both the loop and your stitch before over and drop them off your needle. That would be a good one to try. Whatever you do, it needs to be loose, and then you sew it down, not too tightly. And of course, and Lynn's saying, don't bind off, just sew the live stitches with a herringbone stitch. Yes, you could do that. I do like the structure that it does give you, though. I think, you could add that with the seam, but there's something about that seam. I think it just adds a little bit of structure, but look, it's up to you what you want to do. It's your sweater, but I just bind off loosely and then I sew it down, and it really does give you a bit of an anchor here that the whole garment falls off, which I like. I have got jumpers where I've gone straight into the neck. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to start underneath the neck and go down. Okay, so let me tell you a bit about it. I'll show her to you first. Look, she's really full. You can see I didn't bother trying to close my holes under the arms. I just let it rip. So we don't have to be too fussy. She's got tons of ease in her. She's really full, and she's got this fabulous textured pattern that runs down the yoke into the cuffs and into the hem. And she's got quite full sleeves. It's a reasonable fullness to the sleeves, and then I pull her in right at the bottom, so she's got a bit of a balloon sleeve. The yoke obviously runs all the way around. She's beautifully simple. She's beautifully simple, and she flew off my needles, and I love wearing it. So I have photos. You can see the puffiness of the sleeves. The sleeves are good because this tightness here, because it's sort of a rib, and it has the slip stitches. See there, really lovely slip stitches in it. You can yank that up and it will stay there. So if you're like me and you need to yank your sleeves up, and you need a bit of coolness on your wrists because you're feeling a bit hot, then this will stay up. It's quite good, and then you just get that kind of fullness over your sleeve, and it just looks pretty cool. So and it has quite a lot of fullness in the body. I've got one more picture in the pattern. There will be more pictures on the listings, both on Ravelry and on my website. And then there she is. So she's not overly long. Of course, you can make it as long as you like. You don't have to stop when I stop. There's no shaping in the body, so you can just knit as long as you like and then finish. It's totally up to you. Top down, just keep trying it on and steam it and try it on, and then you'll know when you want to stop. Sometimes you'll want to stop because you're like, I've had enough of knitting this body now. I think I'd like to stop. So you can stop then if you want to. And then if you get sick, if you want to come back later and do a bit more, you can. If you are going to make it longer, then just allow a little bit of extra yarn, okay? Any changes, don't forget extra yarn. Let me just see your comments, and then I'll come back. It's cold in Scotland. Katie, enjoy it. Natalie said, it's time to slow down a bit. I'm 55 and this is my focus. Yeah, I'm just more tired than I used to be. I mean, I don't sleep great anymore, but I'm just more tired. And also, I don't quite know how to say this, except I know you'll understand. It's not that I don't care. I do care, but we've seen so many things go around, and I'm just like, oh, here we go again. And I don't really care. And so there's a part of me that's like, okay, I know what's important in my life now, so I'm going to focus on that. And of course, a huge part of my life is making things. I couldn't survive without making things. It is an enormous part of just my being. So I love making things, but I tell you what, I hate deadlines. And so I'm thinking, I'm just going to try and take some of those, just ease off on some of the things. I've always just gone, go. I've always done that. And I still am a bit like that, but, just a bit tired. Yvonne said, you're the same year as my daughter. She's into tramping New Zealand tracks and taking time away from the family. Yvonne, I'm trying to, are you the Yvonne I'm thinking of, Yvonne? I'm not sure, but anyway, yes. Well, I've been really enjoying going for my walks and getting outside and moving my body. You know, I talked about that earlier in the year, moving my body. I'm so sedentary. My life could be incredibly sedentary. I could knit all the time and be at my computer all the time. I don't want to. I just don't want to live like that. So I'm going to I'm going to have to juggle all the things I want to do. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just changing. I'm not even changing, really. Okay, Becky said, I love my Baystone. Becky was one of my testers. She knitted in Bendigo Classic 4-ply and lift mohair. Can't wait for cooler weather to wear it. The sleeves are gorgeous. It's a very easy pattern to memorize. It is, you know. The thing about it is, I don't know about you, but I like clever knitting, but I actually like not so clever knitting even more. I like knitting that isn't totally boring. But I do enjoy just stockinette as well. But I like something that's just a nice rhythm, nice easy rhythm, and I'm remembering it. Every now and then I like to do something that challenges my brain, and I have to say grading all of these sweaters does challenge my brain, so I do get a lot of that. But I like things that just have a nice rhythm. I don't need any more stresses added to my life. Just give me a jumper that's really pleasant to knit. This is that jumper, let me tell you. I really enjoyed knitting it. It was so easy to knit and pleasurable to knit, and it grew so fast. Yolana says, hi Libby, it's Yolana from Ottawa, Canada. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I'm not sure. I'm finally able to attend this live session. I'm in my last day of a short 5-day vacation. Oh, how happy. Enjoy that. Claire says that she usually binds off in a bigger needle. Now, you could try that when you're thinking of both the cuffs and the hem and the neck. You could try a bigger needle, but still watch that you're not going bind off, looking so good, bigger needle, yank, like that. Don't do that, because it will just yank the looseness out of the stitch behind. So even if you use a bigger needle, still just, you know, relax and just say, I'm going to take my time and make sure this is loose, because I don't think it matters if you feel it's too loose, because you will be just pulling it all together when you're seaming it. Hi Janet, she said, I feel you struggle to get all the fabulous knitting groups I like to visit. You're so right. Yes, that's right. I think so. Taking a step back. I just am not going. I think what happened was this year, I think as my kids leave home, I start thinking I've got more time. And that's true. There is a little more time. But then I think, oh, what shall I fill all this time with? I'll fill all this time with all these things. And we'll do more and more and more. And that's, I'm going to have to stop doing that. I shouldn't be filling time. And Claire will be watching this and she'll be saying, you will, Libby. I know you will. You're going to say, I've got this idea. I've got this other idea for this. And Claire's going to say, no more, Libby. You've got to stop doing all the ideas. Just do the basics. Top down ain't my favorite thing, Kate. Well, I might surprise you. Maybe I'll surprise you with this one, Kate. Who knows? It's I enjoyed this one. I mean, I like top down anyway. Sabrina said, I loved this pattern so much. She was also one of my testers. I knitted her twice. She said, there could be more in my future as well. And actually, there's Barbara. Barbara says she's got the, I keep going past that. I know Barbara says something about loving her. She loves hers. That's 3 loves. She loves her Baystone. And Barbara did a different neck. She did a bit of a rolled neck on hers. So when you go to Ravelry, once this pattern is live, you will see all of the different projects from my testers, and you'll see that some of them have done different things with the neck, and Barbara is one of those. So yeah, it's really good to get some ideas of what you might want to do. Hey, 81 degrees driving to Florida, Carol. Oh, enjoy yourself. Janice says, I only worry about the things I control. That actually, there is the Serenity Prayer. I've been thinking about that a bit too lately, the Serenity Prayer. It is God grant me the serenity. I might get this wrong because I always forget it. I have to try and remember it. Clearly, it's something I need to learn. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And I was thinking, yeah, that's everybody else. That's me. That's everybody else. I have to accept the things I can't change. Basically, that's everybody else. And the courage to change the things I can, well, that's me. I have the courage to change the things I can. I can do that. And the wisdom to know the difference. And that is where I struggle sometimes. But I'm trying to have the serenity and I'm trying to have the wisdom. I'm not lacking in courage, but those are the two things. Oh, flip a deck. So yes, that's what I was thinking. The things you can't control, that's the other people. That's the other thing. You can't control anything. You have to let it go. Here to that sentiment, Wendy, says Wendy. Focus on what matters and keep creating joyful energy. Inspire your kids to do the same. Exactly, Wendy. You get it. And Terry says, knowing what and who are important in your life comes with age. I think you get that too, don't you? And so does Bernadette. Putting yourself first is okay. It sort of goes against the grain how we were raised. Do what makes you happy. Look, the thing is, what makes me really happy is filling my vases with flowers. And I was just looking this morning at one of my vases of flowers in the middle of the dining room table. And I thought, some of those leaves are dead. I should find a moment to take out the dead foliage around the outside, because the middle flowers, they've got a few more days life in them, and I could put a few more of the greenery in, and nobody will notice except me, except they will notice because we will always have, well, when I do it, we will have they will come to expect might be too strong a word, but they will in the orbit of my children, and are these beautiful flowers, and they're not dead. And there will be little flowers put in. And it's something about that little, and it's good for me. I like it too. But it's permeating out that expectation of just creating beauty or making things happy and joyful and taking the time to do little things. And so they won't care whether they're dead flowers, but actually on some level, I think they will notice that the all together. Just a quick question, says Cindy. I dislike wrap and turns. Does Wardrobe Toolbox have a video showing how I may use German short rows instead? Cindy, inside Wardrobe Toolbox, there is a whole lesson about, I think there are 4 different short rows I show you. I think there's 4. We do wrap and turns, German short rows, Japanese, and I think I do shadow short rows as well. I think I do 4, and they're broken also into the tutorials, so you'll find them in the tutorials, but if you go to lessons, they're all together, and I talk about short rows, and I don't just show you the short rows, I talk to you about where we're using them and the difference between doing lengthening short rows as opposed to shortening short rows. That won't make any sense to you until you watch it, but it can be helpful if you're working from the top down or the bottom up. And so there's lots there. Lynn says, hang on, here we go. Sorry, missed. I'll just go back to Tamsin. Baystone, she said this sweater is a fabulous fluffy sweater. I love the pattern on the yoke, and mine is so soft and warm. I will get back to talking about the sweater in a minute. Lynn says, I love the boring, repetitive stocking stitch of a long, plain body. There's definitely a place for it in my knitting life, Lynn. There definitely is. Baystone is so comfy, cozy looking. Another one for the knitting wish list, says Katie. Oh, that's good. My Baystone test knit was for my daughter-in-law, and she wore it heaps before the warmer weather came. Over the summer, I'm going to make one for myself. Oh, Lynn, you'll enjoy it. Melanie said, if I knew all the things I know now at 62 back when I was 30th, my life would have been so much calmer. I know, Melanie, it's true, isn't it? But I think we're meant to do it. You can't tell. I would never have listened. I didn't listen. I had to learn all my own mistakes. And I think maybe you're meant to do that. Imagine if we all knew it all. That would be insufferable, wouldn't we, if we all knew it all? I mean, we think we know it all. And that's why teenagers can be insufferable, because they know everything. They know everything. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much they know. It's incredible. But, But karma, I don't know. I breastfed for so many years. I think I breastfed for about 13 years. And so my life was pretty calm because of all the hormones, all the prolactin, just chilling me out for all those years. When I stopped breastfeeding, it was almost continuous all that time. When I stopped breastfeeding, I really noticed the difference, actually. I hadn't appreciated how much benefit it gave to me. So I should have had more children, I think. Just made it go on for longer and longer. Okay, let's talk about this jumper. And this is like part 2 of the podcast for this week. So goodness knows how I'm going to put it together when I put it up live, but I'll do something. Hey, again, you're back. Yay. What a drama. it is today. It must be something in the air, I think. Nice to see you, Rachel. Alrighty, so let's cut to the chase, shall we? Hey, you're back. Yeah, Facebook ended. It all ended. Facebook and YouTube all ended. Disaster. We're talking about my Baystone sweater, which is this one, which I photographed the other day. Finally, it took me ages to get the photographs done. Photographs are my least favourite part of the whole thing. Yay, you found me, Charlotte. I'll just get myself ready because we're going to talk about the yarn and the fabric that I used. Where is the yarn? Here we go. Look, I've got a smattering left. You found me again. Good. Hopefully I'll see Facebook come back in a minute. But YouTube is back. Computer said no. Computer definitely said no. Oh my gosh, you see, it's all these dramas. Who needs these dramas? Not me. Don't need the drama. Right. I can't see Facebook. Here they are. I'm kind of back. Yeah, part 2. This is part 2. This is going to be the weirdest podcast in history. So, I used for my Baystone, it is the most beautifully fluffy sweater. There's a lot of warmth in here for not a heck of a lot of weight. It's reasonably heavy, but it's not heavy. So if I was going to use a worsted spun DK, actually a worsted spun worsted weight yarn, then it would be super heavy because worsted yarn's quite heavy. But instead I used a sport weight yarn and a mohair. And so when you hold those together, everything starts to become warm but a bit lighter. And I used, this one was my sport weight. It's alpaca heather from Manos. This is it here. It's this kind of just a lovely putty earthy colour. This is the number here, 4705. It's called Toast. It's 70% wool, 30% alpaca, and it's about 300 meters or 328 yards per 100 grams. And it's just absolutely natural. It's an undyed color. Manos to Uruguay, you know Manos. They're really good. Really good. So I used that one for the mane. I still have that much left. It'll make a beautiful hat actually. Actually, I've got a bit more left. So I used that one for the sport. Now you could sub in a fingering, and if you sub in a fingering, then you just, think about your gauge. You just have to have a little play around, but you're probably going to be more or less okay. The gauge in the end, I think it was 20 stitches and 28 rounds. So it's a nice sort of standard worsted weight, feeling plump DK weight. I think you probably easily get it with a fingering and a mohair. The mohair I used, I've got that much left because I've used this mohair for quite a few different things, and I had a bit lying around. You can see it's full of pops of color. It's mostly this color, this putty color, but you can see it's got reds in it and golds, and absolutely beautiful. And you can see it in the garment itself, and it adds just another layer of interest to the garment. So see the pops here, pops of red and pops of gold all the way through. So it just adds another layer to it, so that it lifts it from something different. And I love that about mohair, is how you can add just a little flicker all the way through as you're going. So those are the two yarns I used. It just feels beautifully natural, but I mean, you can take it in any direction you want. Obviously the mohair, if you're going to include the mohair and not just go for a single yarn, then it's going to have that beautiful halo to it, and a lightness to it, and an incredible warmth to it, and the softness. Now I think mine is uber soft because I have the alpaca in this, plus this feels so soft anyway. It's beautifully soft yarn. It's really cushy yarn. And then the silk mohair obviously adds a lot of softness too. So mine is so cuddly. It just feels really, really cuddly. Cuddle up in it. Now it has a ton of ease. And I just did this deliberately. The neck is reasonably medium at the neck. It's not a tight neck, but it's not a very loose neck. I talked a lot in the last video about not making a neck too light. And so just remember, when you're binding off, we're starting underneath the neck and going down and doing the neckband last. And so when you're binding off the neck before you flip it, do that loosely. and then seam it up. I just seamed it up with just the mohair. I just used a strand of the mohair to seam it down. I really enjoy seaming them down. I think it's very fun. And because I do a knitted bind off, all knit stitches, it gives you this lovely line of knits. It's so easy to do, to sew it up, and it's very satisfying. It looks so neat. Anyway, don't do it too tightly because it will become too tight around your neck. If you do it like that, it's not the end of the world. Just undo it, and you could do your final bind off row and do it again and then seam it up again. But so the neck is meant to be, you can see it on me here. It is it's like this neck that I'm wearing, but it's just ever so slightly more in, I guess. Oh, it's the wrong side. It's kind of like, that's a little bit bigger than it is. Sort of like, I'd put it on, but it's so freaking hot. I won't put it on. That's the neck, really. It's meant to be just a little bit open. I don't like a neck that's too high. So that's the neck. And then we do short rows. And I do German short rows, but you can sub in another short row if you like. You don't have to do Germans. Just remember, if you're going to do a wrap and turn, then a wrap and turn uses, has an extra, on a German short row, you're turning on the row that you're essentially wrapping. So with a wrap and turn, you need that extra stitch because that extra stitch is the one you turn. So you stop early, really. So this is the German short rows, just to give you a bit of depth at the back, and it drops the front neck just a little bit. You can see there, it's only that deep at the front, and it's that deep at the back. I couldn't do a yoke sweater without short rows in it. I think a lot of patterns, obviously, I think most patterns have them in here. Technology, I know, it's crazy. YouTube fully dropped off. Yeah, I think I'm back. Am I off YouTube again? Let me see. I think I'm on. Nope, it says I'm streaming. Oh, gosh, what a drama. It's crazy. Okay, and then we go into the yoke, and the yoke is this lovely little repeat which has slip stitches and you drop stitches and things just for this, and you only do it for a few rows and then off you go, and then finish the yoke. Now you can adjust the depth of this yoke. You can do a variety of things to adjust the depth of the yoke. I do increases on either side of these sections here, the little slip stitch sections. The increases happen around them, not in them. So you could do more stitches, you could do more rows there or less rows there. It's up to you. That will change the depth of your yoke. The other thing you could do is make an adjustment down the bottom. And so when you're coming to do rows at the bottom, you could do less. And then also in between, you're going to have a couple of rows. You do an increase row and then you sort of fix it up, do the next row and then another row. So you could make adjustments here as well. But the easiest way might be here. I mean, you could do something clever if you wanted more length. I don't think you're going to want more length because I did give you a good drop under the arm because I want to be able to put things under it. But you could do same, one row more, you could just gradually make them grow if you wanted to do that, or make them shrink. I did give you quite a good drop because I didn't want it to be hard up under your arms. It has got lots of ease in it. There's lots of fullness in this garment. And so that suits having it a bit lower under your arm. You don't want it up there and have tons of ease. So I've dropped your armhole a wee bit. But go to the pattern on this page and check the schematic. That's the first thing I would like to do anyway, is check the schematic. And I'll give you these measurements. I give you the front drop and I give you the back drop from the back of the neck. So just check those measurements against you and work out whether or not you fit into them and whether or not you want to make any changes. You've got a variety of other measurements. The bust measurement, I haven't included a hip measurement because it's the same as the bust measurement. It's a straight body. Now, if you want to include increases out so that you have either down the front here or on the side so that you have more of an A-line shaping, absolutely just go for it. That'll be great. You probably won't even notice when you have it on. But what I recommend doing is going from one size to another size, and then you'll know the stitch count will be correct for the band at the bottom. So rather than just randomly introducing more stitches, just check the next size up or the size of hip that fits you, the size of bust that fits you at the hip, and then head for that number, because then you'll know it's going to work at the bottom. And don't forget, if you're going to add stitches anywhere, you're going to need more yarn, potentially need a little bit more yarn. I always give you a buffer but if you're going to add a lot more, you'll need a lot, you will need more yarn. The sleeves are dead straight. It's a lovely long straight sleeve until you reach the cuff, and then they pull in at the cuff. And I've made the sleeve length like usual. I keep the sleeve length the same across the sizes. So if you want to add or reduce length, we'll just simply knit or don't knit the length in the sleeve. You can make that change so easily in the sleeve. If you don't want things as full in the sleeve, then on that last increase round, don't do as many stitches. Go to the sleeve below or the sleeve below that, depending on what sleeve you want, and make sure you have enough stitches for that sleeve, and then just follow that sleeve by not adding as many as you normally would underneath here for the final increase. And the same for the bust. So if you want to make adjustments there, you want to start with one size here but then get to another size at the bust, then you can make adjustments towards the bottom as well. You've always got your underarms to add or take away stitches from, but don't forget, if you start playing around with the underarm stitches, you're going to add width to both the sleeve and the body. So there's just a few little things to think about. It's nothing is like mind-shattering brain. It's nothing really hard, but sometimes it's just a bit to juggle at the same time. So it pays to sit down with your schematic. You take your measurements, and for those of you in Wardrobe Toolbox, don't forget we get another pattern in about a week's time, and so it's a really good time to take your measurements now. So take your measurements and note them down, and the three key measurements I really want you to take are your upper bust measurement and your full bust measurement and your sleeve circumference, upper arm circumference, not sleeve, arm circumference. And don't do it all hanging out here at the side, because you get all this bit under here you don't want. So just do it down by your side and measure your fullest part of your upper arm. And the other thing you could do when you're thinking about this sweater here, the other thing you could do is you could hold a string or a necklace around your neck, or find a jumper you like, and work out what is the neckline that you like wearing. It might help if you measure one you already have, and just stand your tape measure on its side and measure around that neck circumference. If you do it with a string, you could just put a string around your neck and arrange it and go, okay, well that, let me see, look, I've got my necklace on, maybe that is the neck I like. And then it's easier if it's string, because then you can just take it off. You can make a knot or whatever, just make a mark so that you know that's my string length. Take it off and measure that length that goes around your neck, and then compare that to the pattern. Now I haven't given you a neck circumference, but in the pattern, if you go to the cast on stitches and you divide that by the gauge per inch or per centimetre, that'll tell you the distance that we're casting on. Don't forget, the neckband is going to pull it in just so ever so slightly, but not a lot, but it will pull it in. And so that is your neck circumference around here. So you can adjust that. You can decide, you could start with a size that works for you there, and then increase so that you get to the right size through your shoulders or your bust. There's so many things you could do. I'm not going to go on and on, because there's so many things you could do with this. What else do I want to say about it? We've talked about yarn. I can't remember if I talked about it before or after I got kicked off before, that it's a lighter jumper because you are using a mohair and a sport weight. I use sport weight. You can use fingering if you want, together rather than one heavy worsted. You could do a woolen spun though. You could do a worsted woolen spun. It would be beautifully light. It would probably be lighter than this even if you used a woolen spun yarn. Be just lovely. Oh, I didn't tell you about ease. So you can see it's baggy on me. It's pretty baggy on me. And here's the other photo here of it on me. You can see there's quite a bit of, where am I? Here. See, it's lovely and baggy. When you're blocking it, just make sure you're actually smoothing it out underneath here. Smooth it out. When you're blocking it, stretch it right out like that, and give it a nice pat down so that you don't get any rippling from here into the body. And if you find that you're knitting this part too tight, go up a needle size for this part, and then it won't have a flaring underneath there. What size needles? Let me go back and I'll tell you. I think it's 4.5. I can't remember. I have to tell you. Okay, there are 7 sizes in the pattern because it's a lot of these, and so there's the smallest bust circumference is 40.25 and the largest is 64.25. I have designed it to be worn with about 6 to 10 inches or 15 to 25 centimeters of positive ease. I have intended for you to wear it. This is design ease. I've intended you to wear it with quite a lot of fullness to it. If you don't want to do that, you can pull it right back. But I made size 3 and I have about 10 inches of positive ease. So it's about 10 inches bigger than me. So it's probably, this one might be slightly more than 10, what I'm wearing now. Essentially, if I had it tight on one side and then I pulled it out on the other and I had about 5 inches out from my body, or maybe it's like that, about that much bigger than me around. So it's nice and full. It's not like 20 or something. It's like medium. And then the gauge is 20 stitches and 28 rounds, and I used a US 7 or a 4.5 millimeter needle. But I want you to get a gauge that works for you. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm absolutely wedded to a 4.5. You might find it works fine. But there are a couple of things to think about. One is the gauge is 20 stitches for the stitches. But if you're pushing your yarn so hard to get the 20 stitches and you find that your yarn is really, really stiff at 20, you want to ease back on that. You want to have, you want to make your stitches bigger, because 20 stitches is going to be too tight if your yarn is stiff, stiff, stiff. This is not stiff yarn, stiff fabric. If your fabric isn't rippling and moving like mine, then you'll want to make, you want to just abandon the idea of the gauge, and then you want to think about what size to make with the fabric that you're making and the gauge that you've got. So don't be wedded to that gauge, and don't be wedded to those needles. You might use different needles to get that gauge, or a similar gauge that works for you. What else did I say? I've got, you'll need a yarn needle. You'll need a little bit of the mohair to sew it up with at the end. I've said here that I used about somewhere between 1,080 and 1,820 meters of sport weight and fingering held together. But you can have a look at the yarn on the pattern. It will all be on the listing as well, so just check that. I think that's all I had to tell you about it. It's full of beautifully easy stitches. There's nothing really tricky in it. It's so, it's just a really pleasurable knit and a really pleasurable wear. I think you'll love slopping it over things. I wanted it so that you could wear stuff underneath it, and she's just so cozy. She's one of those cozy kind of jumpers to pop on. So she's called Baystone. If you're on my Minimag list, then I will send you a discount code tomorrow when it comes out, first thing. So you'll want to go to trulymyrtle.com/Minimag. I only ever publish my discounts through my Minimag, so you'll want to go there to find it. So trulymyrtle.com/Minimag, and I will send you a discount code. And if you sign up, and this is a couple of days after this video, then I'll send some emails over the next few days over the weekend, so that you don't miss out that discount for the pattern. And I can't think what else do I want to tell you. Let me look at your comments. I'm back. Yes, what a crazy day. Marina said, I bet it would be nice in our Hanui. The colour looks one of the natural colours of Hanui. Wouldn't it be stunning in handspun? It would be stunning in handspun, and I think Hanui would be beautiful, Marina. Absolutely beautiful. Monica says she's been waiting for this one. I know, I got emails. I've been getting messages and emails from people hoping they haven't missed it. So I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's obviously one that everybody's feeling like they want to knit. Barbara said she used Wild Earth Yarns Merino Possum held with Lana Grossa Setasuri. Oh, nice. So you had a lot of alpaca in there with your Merino Possum. I'm imagining that's what that is. Trying to watch from the car on the desert road. Oh my gosh, Jenny. She's to be bumping up down. Jenny said she's got Bohemia Light and some Australian mohair got at Cairn. Oh, fabulous. Oh yeah, that'll be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful together. So soft. Just the perfect fabric that I'm thinking of, those two together. Oh, Tamsin, you're so sweet. Love that sleeve, says the Happy Crafter. I thought that was a bit weird. Yes, I just lost me. What size needles? I've said the 4.5s, but I've also said please don't be wedded to that. What I want you to do is practice. I know it takes a little bit more time, But actually, it's at the end of the day, it's not that much more time, and you start to feel like the boss of it. And you want to feel like the boss of your knitting. So start with the needles I suggested and see what happens. And just do a little bit and see what you think of the fabric. And then if you like the fabric, do a bigger one and see how you work out for gauge. And if you knit bigger and you're like, actually, it's not really working after all, then try and change needle sizes and just have a play until you find the fabric that works for you, and then count it and work out how close you are to gauge. And if you find your gauge is close but not quite close enough, then you could do a little bit of maths and you'll probably be fine. Or you could just play with the needles and just push it a little bit in one way or another and see if it's really going to make that much difference with just 1/4 of a millimeter. You can't get a 4.25. You can only get a 4 and a 5. But you could just play with it a little bit. But mostly I want you to get fabric that you like, because that's what I do. That's how I start. I knit it until I think, oh yeah, this is nice fabric. Not too open, not too loose. Just gives me the drape I want. But yeah. Jenny says, I dropped off the Minimag and I've tried to get back on twice, not working. Oh, Jenny, email me and we'll see if we can figure out what's happened for you. So the Minimag, and this is happening with a lot of emails now, the email program, I have no control over this. If you're not opening your emails, it'll kick you off. It'll say, oh, that person obviously doesn't want to read these emails, so we're not going to send it to them anymore. Isn't that unbelievably rude? But I have no control over that. And so if you're finding that your Minimag is not arriving, let me know. Check your junk. And if you can't find it anywhere, let me know. And we will try and figure it out at our end. But if you're getting the Minimag and you're busy, just open it anyway and then delete it. But don't, if you leave it closed week after week after week after week, the email provider will just say, sorry, sunshine, you're not going to get the emails anymore, which is a real pain for you. So just open the emails and then you'll keep getting them. All right, I think that's all I had to tell you today. Goodness me, what a funny morning that was. Anyway, Baystone will be out tomorrow. I'll probably be out this afternoon, but if you want a discount, then you can jump on my Minimag list and I'll send you an email tomorrow morning and Saturday and probably Sunday and then maybe Monday as well, so that you can make sure that you get that discount. Happy knitting, everybody. Have a really, really happy week and do lots of knitting, and I'll see you next week. I'm imagining there's some questions waiting for me at Truly Myrtle. If you have a question that you want me to answer on the podcast, just go to trulymyrtle.com/ask, ASK, and I will print them all off and I'll bring them to the podcast next week and answer them. And so you can do that if you want to, and then you get your questions answered here. It's not as comprehensive as I do at Wardrobe Toolbox, but it's still good. It's still good to talk about your questions. All right, everybody, have a lovely, lovely week, and I will see you very soon. Bye, everyone. Bye. Or do I suggest a provisional cast on? No. I'm not doing that. No, I'll just say that now before you go. Shona, I'm going to tell you no, because there's absolutely no structure in a provisional cast on. And so I want you, this is a large flowy jumper, drapey jumper. I want you to have some structure, which top down lacks structure. So I want you to have some structure. I'm just looking to see where the pattern is. Right. I get to use a cable cast on. The cable cast on's nice and firm, and so I get you to do a cable cast on, and that's under the neckband. I will go in a second, but that's under the neckband here, and then we're going to come back later and we're going to do our neckband, because we want to add a bit of strength to that garment, so it doesn't just drop. You know how those necks can get bigger and bigger and bigger? We don't want that, so we're not going to do that. All right, everyone, I'll see you later. Bye.